The history of minor and major pro hockey in Seattle goes back more than 100 years, and with the Kraken being officially brought into the NHL for the 21-22 season, we have to look back today at where it all started and where it's all going. Now, the link of the current Seattle squad is a direct link not to the Seattle Metropolitans of the old Stanley Cup era of the late 1910s, but the very, very popular and the very successful Seattle Totems of the PCHL and the NIHL. The WHL franchise was very popular, as well as CHL1. Now, it was under several names prior to 1958. The franchise again was a member of the PCHL, which was renamed the Western Hockey League in 52 between 44 and 74. In their last season of existence, they played in the CHL in the 1975 season. They skated their home contests at the Civic Ice Arena and later at the Seattle Center Coliseum. Now, the Totems were very successful as they won the 3 WHL Lester Patrick Cup titles in 59, 67, and of course the key year of 68. The Totems were one of a few American-based pro clubs to play a touring Soviet team as well. On Christmas Day 1972, the Totems lost to the Soviets 9-4. A rematch between the two teams was held on January 4, 74, where, led by Don Westerbrook's 3 goals, the Totems won 8-4. Now, the original Seattle team called the Ironmen started in 1944. Now, after World War II, the Pacific Coast Hockey League, PCHL, a major professional league on the West Coast in the teens and 20s, was resurrected as a semi-pro league. Seattle is a strong hockey town and notable for being the first city outside of Canada to host the Stanley Cup Championship, which is, of course, the 17 Seattle Metropolitans were granted a franchise. The club had been founded as an amateur team the previous year when they were known as the Seattle Isaacson Iron Workers, who played in the Northwest International Hockey League. Now, when they entered the PCHL, they were named the Seattle Ironmen. The club had modest success, finishing in first place in the league in 48, while the league itself became fully pro in 1949. Its most notable stars were Gordon Kerr, the team's leading scorer in those years, with 235 points in 244 games, as well as William Robinson, Andy Dartel, and Joe Bell. Among other notables for the team were future NHL star goalie Al Rollins, and of course the Flyers' vaunted head coach Fred Shero, who also guided the Rangers later on in their cup run in 79. Now, eventually the Seattle Bombers were evolved from this original team. The league then had changed its name to the Western Hockey League, and the Ironmen themselves changed their name to the Seattle Bombers the following season. Unfortunately, the team continued to play poorly for two campaigns, and the only bright spot was the debut of Seattle of the greatest minor league scorer of all time, Guy Fiedler. After 2 seasons of increasing travel costs, for which the Bombers received aid from the league, Seattle suspended operations for the 1955 season. Now, the team rejoined the WHL as the Seattle Americans the following season, finishing in first place in 57, led by a tremendous season by Fiedler, who broke the professional single-season scoring record with 122 points, en route to MVP honors, and the first of 4 straight scoring championships for Seattle. Among other notables for the Americans were Val Fontaine, notable as the least penalized player of all time, future Vezina winner Charlie Hodge, and future NHL GMs Emil Francis and Keith Allen. The team's final season as the Americans in 1958 saw the first time the franchise would win a playoff series. Now, the Americans were eventually renamed the Seattle Totems for the 59 season, the name by which it would go for the rest of its existence. Fiedler and Filiot remained the team's great stars, but like many other WHL teams, the Totals had very stable rosters, and players such as Marc Beaulieu, Jerry Leonard, Bill McFarland, Jim Powers, Gordie Sinclair, and future NHL coach and GM Tom McVie spent many seasons each in Seattle colors. Allen was team's coach for his first 7 seasons as the Totems, guiding the team to a first place finish in 59 and to the playoffs 6 out of 7 years of his tenure. The Totems played the 75 season in the CHL after the WHL folded. Now, here's how it becomes interesting. Now, on June 12, 1979, the NHL announced that a Seattle group headed by Vince Abbey had been awarded the expansion team to begin play in the 76-77 season. A $180,000 deposit was due by the end of 1975, and the total franchise fee was a reasonable $6 million. Additionally, Abbey had to repurchase the shares in the Totems held by the Vancouver Canucks, who were using the minor league Totems as a farm club. The expansion announcement also included a franchise for Denver, and with the loss of 2 more of its major markets, the WHL announced on the same day that it was folding. The Totems eventually joined the CHL for the 74-75 campaign. Now, unfortunately, after missing a number of deadlines while scrambling to secure financing, the NHL threatened to pull the franchise as there was a number of other suitors in the wings. Abbey allegedly passed on an opportunity to purchase a WHA team for $2 million during this period, and he missed an opportunity to acquire an existing franchise when the Penguins were sold in a bankruptcy auction for $4.4 million in June of 1975. Now, the Totems folded again following the 75 season after acquiring $2 million in debt, which left the city without hockey for the first time in 2 decades. Now, the Seattle Breakers, now the Thunderbirds, would begin play in 77 in the Western Canada Junior Hockey League. Now, after a failed attempt by Abbey to purchase the Seals of California in June, the NHL pulled the expansion franchise from Seattle. Abbey filed suit against the NHL and the Canucks for antitrust violations that he alleged prevented him from acquiring a team. It was finally settled in the favor of the NHL in, get this, 1986. But in 2018, the clouds lifted when the NHL again awarded Seattle an NHL squad, which will be called the Seattle Kraken, to begin in 2021-22. Again, the seasons for Seattle, they won the 59 title over the Stampeders 4-0. They won the 67 crown over the then Vancouver Canucks 4-0, and won over the Portland Buckaroos in 68 4-1. Now, we're going to do an upcoming podcast on our top scorer, Guile Fielder. I think he deserves our respect because he was a tremendous player. So that's the history of the Seattle Totems. Thanks for listening. Bye.